So you want to learn how to make cocktails and use all these funky tools? Well, I got you. I'm going to show you just that. Making cocktails can sometimes feel a little intimidating because it seems like you have so many different crazy tools that you need to effectively be able to create a fantastic cocktail. Well, today I'm going to kind of go through each and every one of the tools and show you how to use them and talk about which ones I think are super essential and the ones that you may not need in your home bar. But I'll go through all the ones that I use at my bar and restaurant. That way you can kind of at least get an idea for that. But the first one that we're gonna go over is your shaking tin. So this is your shaking tin. They are two pieces of metal that attach to one another to form a seal for you to shake a cocktail. In future video, I will get into the difference between shaking and stirring a cocktail, but just for this video, just understand that you shake some cocktails and you stir some cocktails, and we'll get into that in the future. So you got two different pieces of metal that attach. Some people like to use a pint glass as in place of the small shaker. I get a little scared because glass freaks me out a little bit, especially when you're, smashing it to form a seal. I have seen people break pint glasses with their hands. It is not fun. Bartender I used to work with, she had to go to the ER because she had to get stitches on her hand from breaking a pint glass in her shaker. So I do not recommend using glass. I mean, if you're at home, do whatever you want. But I do recommend just getting two equally weighted cocktail tins that do attach. By far the most important thing that you can buy to make yourself make better cocktails is a jigger. This is our measuring tool. This is like the measuring spoons or cups in baking. This is more than essential. If you do not have one, I do not believe you can make effective, fantastic cocktails, because cocktail making is more science and less an art. More measurement, more theory than a lot of people kind of give it credit for. The beautiful thing about what I have here, which is, we call it a Japanese jigger, here you usually have two sides, and usually the bottom side is about half the measurement of the top side. So in this here, I have a 2/1. So 2 ounces in the big one, 1 ounce in the small one. They have markings on the inside. So you not only have two measurements in one little piece of equipment here, you have about 5 measurements. So on the tall one, you have 2 ounces up to the top, but on the inside, you have a 1.5 ounce marking. On the bottom one, you have 1 ounce at the top, but then on the inside, you also have 3/4 of an ounce and 1/2 ounce. For most recipes, this should get you through. I do recommend getting a smaller one with 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce measurements. It's one that I happen to have missing, which I can't find mine, but that one is another interesting one as well. Now, I would say that those two pieces of equipment that I just showed you really knock out a majority of the things that you need to make effective cocktails. As long as you have the ingredients available to you, measuring, shaking with a little bit of ice usually gets the job done, but we're gonna keep going. The next thing I wanna show you guys are bar spoons and a stirring glass, a mixing glass. I have this one from Campari. I got it for free. I got this one right here. It's nice. It's used for stirring cocktails. And then you have bar spoons. As you can see, I have two different ones here. I put both of these up for a very specific purpose. You're gonna want a weighted cocktail spoon. It actually makes stirring much easier because it acts as a counterweight, which makes it much easier to stir. This one that has a fancy little logo on the top, while it gets the job done, it does make it a little bit harder because this has no weight at all. So when you're stirring it, it requires a little bit more work from you. So get a weighted bar spoon. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is a muddler. This is used to muddle fruit, to express oils, to really mix in some of those fresh fruit ingredients into a cocktail. Muddler, super important. This right here is a citrus juicer. For most of you home bartenders, this will be absolutely essential. I don't use it in my day-to-day because I have a large juicing machine that makes a ton of fresh juice for the bar, but this right here is indispensable. If I'm making just a quick cocktail and I don't want to juice a whole bunch, cut a lime in half or a lemon in half, squeeze, boom, you're done. Indispensable bar tool. And next, we're gonna go on to our strainers. So you have about 3 different strainers that I would say are essential. So the first one is a Hawthorne strainer. This one goes into your tins and it helps keep the stuff that's in here from inside the glass. So put stuff in there, you put your Hawthorne strainer. It actually gives you the ability to throttle to control how much comes in and out of this as you're pouring. You usually use it in conjunction with a fine mesh strainer or a tea strainer, because a lot of times, while this does keep big chunks out, it does not keep small pieces out, like small pieces of mint, small pieces of ice that you don't want to over dilute your drink. So you use it in conjunction with a fine mesh strainer. You get everything out of it and only the good things in the glass. Lastly, you have what we call a julep strainer. This one actually goes into your mixing glasses to keep the ice in there for when you're making cocktails. It's great because it actually really lends itself to a nice little, you can hold it pretty easily. Next, you have a very basic Y peeler. It's called a Y peeler because of the shape of a Y. And this is essential for making garnishes and peels. You can get these pretty cheap. You might even have them, you might even be able to use just a vegetable peeler from your kitchen, but very, very important. I would also recommend a cutting board and a knife. I mean, you don't have to get fancy like I do, but that's because I like to be bougie sometimes. So I have a nice little bartending knife and a cool little wooden paddle. You can just use a regular cutting board and knife from your home. I like to be extra. And then lastly, one that is a little interesting as well is a funnel. Great for when you make syrups. You can put it in a bottle or transferring stuff from one bottle to another. Essential as well. And last but not least, two that are good to have, but I wouldn't say they're necessary if you're just a home bartender. Just a nice, easy bottle opener. I have this nice one that my sister made with the logo of the restaurant, just to pop open good bottles. We have soda water and different beer that we have. It's a bottle with a tap, with a bottle cap. So this is great to easily open up those real quick, so you don't have to worry and chase around. Or you also have a wine key, which has and does all the same features. If you're a server or if you worked in restaurants, you should have one of these. It's double hinge for you to be able to open wine bottles. It has a foil knife and a bottle opener at the end. Maybe not essential for cocktail making, but a great to have nonetheless if you work behind a bar. And now for some of the stuff that I use that might not be super essential, but could help you depending on the cocktail. Most of you already have something like this in your home, but I have a little blender. We use it to make blended cocktails at the restaurant, but if you have a blender at home, great. Excellent. Frozen cocktails, if made well, can be fantastic. And I also have a butane torch. And I have a little butane torch. This is nice to play around, make little fire effects, express oils onto. It's really fun. If you have matches at home or a lighter, you're good. But there you have it, guys. Here are the tools that you need to be an effective bartender or to make drinks at home. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.